Welcome to this video about the measures of center. We're beginning our statistics unit, and statistics is the practice of collecting and analyzing numerical data. By the end of this video, you should be able to determine and describe the measures of center for a large set of data for the following: mean, median, mode, and range. Okay, so a measure of center is a value that attempts to describe the central or typical values within a set of data. Common measures of center are mean, median, and modes. We're talking about what best describes the middle of the data. Okay, so most of you will remember the mean is just the average of the data. And to find the mean, you're going to sum or add all of the data values together and then divide by the total number of data values. So for example, we'll take 15 plus 7 plus 24 plus 13 plus 21. When we add those all together, you get a total of 80. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 data values. So 80 divided by 5 will give us an average of 16. Okay, so let's try that again. Add together 5 plus 7 plus 2 plus 5 plus 12 plus 3 plus 8 plus 14. When you add those all together, you should get 56. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 total data values. And 56 divided by 8 will give us an average value of 7. But sometimes that's not the best description of the typical center of the data. We have another measure of center called the median, and the median is the actual middle value. Okay, so when you want to find the median, you need to put your data in order from the least to the greatest. It has to be in order or this isn't going to work. And then if you have an odd number of numbers, the median is the exact middle number, meaning there's the same number of numbers on the left and the right of it. If you have an even number of numbers, you need to add the two middle numbers together and divide by 2 to find the exact middle. Let's try this so we can see. So we're going to put this list in order from smallest to biggest. The smallest is 17, followed by 13, 15, 21, and 24. All right, when I look at this data, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There is an odd number of values, so the median is the exact middle value. So that would be 15. You see how there's two numbers to the left and two numbers to the right. It's exactly in the middle, so our mean will be 15 in this case, median. The exact middle value. Let's try it again for this data set. Our smallest number, we have 2, 3, 5, 5, 7, 8, 12, and 14. So we've put it in order, least to greatest. And when I count, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's an even number of numbers. There's 8 numbers. So the middle will be 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The middle is actually right there. So when I look, there's 4 numbers to the left and 4 numbers to the right. So I know I'm right in the middle. So sometimes you can just look at the number and tell what's halfway between them. Halfway between 5 and 7 is 6. But the way, mathematically, the way this works is you take the two numbers and add them together and divide by 2, and that gives you your median value. Okay, so mean is the average, median is the exact middle number when put in order, least to greatest. And then the last measure of center that we're going to talk about is called the mode. The mode is the value or values that occur most often. So the mode, you can have one mode, you can have multiple modes, or you can have no modes. If each number occurs only once, there's no mode. And so you're just looking for which number occurs the most often. So when I look through this data set, I am noticing that none of these are repeating themselves. They're all unique numbers. So this data has no mode because they all occur the exact same number of times. Okay, let me look at this next set. So I have a 5. Oh, look, I got another 5. And then another 5. But then I notice there's also an 8 and an 8. So the mode is what occurs the most often. So 8 occurs less times than 5. So 5 will be our mode here. But I had to look at the 8 because it did happen more than one time. So I wanted to make sure it didn't happen more times than 5. So let's look at our last set. Try it one last time. So we have 7. Oh, I got another 7. And that's it. But let me just double check. Is there anything else that doubles? 16 doesn't. 4 doesn't. Oh, look. 10 does. And then 13 doesn't. 9 doesn't. So 7 happens twice and 10 happens twice. So 7 and 10 are the modes. All right, let's try some more on the back. The last topic I wanted to mention today is something called range. Range is the distance between the largest and smallest value in a data set. So you're just going to find it by taking the largest value minus the smallest value and finding this distance. So let's take a look in number 8 here. Our largest value is 24, and we're going to subtract our smallest value, which is 7. And 24 minus 7 is 17. So the range of this data set is 17. Try it again in number 9. The largest number there is 14. And the smallest number is 2. So when I subtract largest minus smallest, I get a range of 12. It just gives you an idea of how spread out the data is. All right, we're going to just do a couple of these examples so you can kind of get a feel for this. We would need to find the mean, median, modes, and the range of each data set. So to find the mean, you'll add up all the numbers and divide by the total number of numbers. Median, they need to be in order from smallest to largest. Mode is the most occurring number or numbers, and range is the largest number minus the smallest number. So let's go ahead and put these in order, largest to smallest, because that's also going to help us answer our mode question. Smallest to largest, sorry. So our smallest number is 95. Then we have 98, 102, 108, 115, 124, and 135. Okay, now when I count this, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 numbers. It's odd, which means there's an exact center after 1, 2, 3. This number is my exact center, and I can always double check. There's 1, 2, 3 numbers to the right and 1, 2, 3 numbers to the left. So our median is 108. For modes, it's the most occurring number, and if you look, you'll see none of the numbers repeat. So it was handy to put them in order. So there is no mode here. So I'm going to write not any. Don't write 0, because then you're saying 0 is the most occurring number. For our mean, let's go ahead and take your calculator, add these up. 95 plus 98 plus 102 plus 108 plus 115 plus 124 plus 135. When you add those all up, you should get 777, and there were 7 total data values, which gives us a mean of 111. And then our range is, remember, your biggest minus your smallest. Another reason it's handy to have them in order. So 135 minus 95 equals 40. So our range there is 40. All right, go ahead and pause the video and try this second one and see how you do. All right, so number 11, once we put everything in order, add them up and divide by 9, we get a mean of 75. Our median was 75 also, just happens to be the same value. Because there's 9 golfers, the very middle number would be this number. Notice there's the same number of numbers on each side. So our median is 75. Our mode is the most occurring numbers that happens twice with 72 and 77, so I listed them both. And the range is the largest minus the smallest. And so that'd be 80 minus 70, which gives us 10. Now this was an odd data set. Remember, if you have an even data set, let's just refresh your memory, pause the video and find the median for number 12. All right, when we put our data set in order, smallest to largest, the very middle of the data is between these two 90s, because there's 5 numbers to the left and 5 numbers to the right. Well, halfway between 90 and 90 is 90. I mean, if you weren't sure, you can add up 90 plus 90 and divide it by 2, but you'll end up with 90. So your median there is 90. And the rest you should be able to figure out pretty well. I just wanted to make sure that you remembered if you have an even number of numbers, it's the number halfway between the two middle numbers. If the two middle numbers happen to be the same, then that's what your median is also. Hopefully that answered all your questions. See you in class.